This book is called The Meaning of Life by Bradley Trevor Greive. The Meaning of Life. So right now we're on the prologue. Halt! Whoa, stop right there. Before you read any further, there's something you really should know. A lot of animal pictures in this one. So, you may have opened this little book expecting it to be filled with answers, but surprise, surprise, it's actually a book about questions. This may not be what you wanted to hear. Most people don't like questions, they like answers. And if they don't get easy answers, I guess I didn't put the chat all the way on. There we go. Most people don't like questions, they like answers. And if they don't get easy answers straight away, their eyes immediately start to glaze over, kind of like this kitty cat. Pretty soon, they're off in a lovely daydream about dancing cupcakes, singing turnips, and soaking in a bathtub filled with warm vanilla custard. So, and this is important, if you feel like questions, who needs them? This is your last chance to throw this book away and wander off to watch returns of Gilligan's Isle. I repeat, this is your last chance. The meaning of life. No matter how you look at it, life is strange. Very strange. For example, it's an undisputable fact that we are all made of the precise same substance as the most intelligent, creative, magnificent life forms in the entire universe. And I'm going to pause the recording real quick because somebody's knocking at my door. Very strange. An example, it's an indisputable fact that we are all made of the precise same substance as the most intelligent, creative, magnificent life forms in the entire universe. Furthermore, we are composed of the same exact atomic matter as the mightiest mountains on this planet and the brightest stars in the galaxy. Of course, this is also true for potatoes, snails, and meatloaf. Perhaps that's why there's so much about life that doesn't make a great deal of sense. For starters, why are we so overly impressed by and obsessed with objects and achievements of an immense scale, when it is actually the tiny little things that, when put together, make big things possible? Kind of like this ant. Why do we try to create our own little worlds so we have the illusion of being completely in control of our entire existence, when we know with absolute certainty that we are not? Why do we go on and on about individuality being the very essence of who we are, and then accept a degrading level of conformity in virtually every facet of our lives? Why do children believe in fairies but grown-ups don't? And why do we get so hung up on what we don't agree on, when in fact our differences are what makes life interesting? After all, half the world is upside down, so there's absolutely no reason why we would all agree on everything. Even something as basic and profound as "don't chew with your mouth open" is not as widely accepted as you might think. Why is it when passions are inflamed, we choose to argue and fight, when dancing the cha-cha is a less injurious, far more enjoyable, and equally effective in resolving the tension? And why do we feel drawn together as a species, yet steadily build up defensive barriers around our innermost feelings and beliefs so that we can never be truly close to anyone? Perhaps the confusion arises because life is not always what it seems. As a species, we are obsessed with superficial appearance. We all have filters on, so we mostly see only what we want to see. When you finally open your eyes, you may be shocked at the obscured way you have been viewing the world to suit your own little plans. With those filters removed, you can take a closer look into yourself and ask objective questions about the universe and your place in it. In other words, investigate the meaning of life. So, what is life all about? Well, you often hear that life is a journey, but a journey to where exactly? Some people say that life is all about acquiring knowledge. If that's true, then why do smart people always dress so badly? I don't know if that's completely true. There are those who say that life has no purpose. It just is. Whoa, that is just so deep. Then there are people who say that we're simply here to have a family. After all, the desperate need to replace ourselves is etched into the genetic map of every living thing. All these ideas sound completely stupid. The only theme that resonates throughout the numerous popular life theories is love. Love, in all its fragile forms, is the one powerful, enduring force that brings real meaning to our everyday lives. Of course, I'm not talking about romantic, kissy kissy love, although that is pretty powerful stuff in itself. It's well documented that a broken heart feels far more painful than squeezing lemon juice over a deep paper cut. But the love I mean is the fire that burns inside us all, the inner warmth that prevents our soul from freezing in the winters of despair. It's the love of life itself. The voice that says, celebrate life, be creative. It brings with it the passions and understanding that some things in life are worth dying for, but there's so much more worth living for. It encourages us to greet each moment the same way we greet an old friend at the airport, to embrace opportunities, to express ourselves in a way that makes us feel glad we exist. This love of life leads us to help others simply because it feels great to contribute to those around us. That monkey's picking some fleas off the dog. We all know how wonderful it feels to be a rock for our family and friends. Of course, there is a limit, like this little chicken with the elephant hoof. But as good as it sounds, and as much as you're here to live the life you love rings true, still brings up a whole pile of sticky questions. It's time to open that can of worms. Specifically, why exactly are you here? What is it that you truly love? People don't ask themselves these questions invariably, go through life wondering, why isn't it a lot more fun? They often feel they've been left behind, or they can't quite put it into words, but they sense that something just smells a little funny. The truth is that often we're so focused on what we're doing that we lose sight of where we are going. But what are we actually doing? The modern world is filled with questionable distractions, deadlines, and priorities. Day and night seem to blur into one. We get caught up in an avalanche of fears and desires that propel us into a race we can't possibly win. So we rush to get to a certain ideal point in our life, and then what? It's just like when you drive all the way to the store, get out of the car, and then can't remember what you came for. Maybe you've had a similar experience to that. So many of us start off dreaming about a wonderful life that is wild and free. But that's usually a long way from where we actually end up. Sadly, we often discover this fact right at the end when it's too late. You can't start all over again. And let me tell you, there are some awfully bad feelings in this world, like bubbles in the bath guilt. Pungent foot odor in the shoe store embarrassment. And I can't believe I did that on the first date anxiety. But of all the awful feelings that make you feel sick to your stomach, nothing feels half as bad as knowing you had a chance to do what you truly love and you didn't take it. So, what is your life's passion? What were you put on this earth to do? The answer to these questions will unlock the great mystery of life. It's as big as they come. Here are a few hints that may help you get on the right track. First, no one is going to tell you about it. It's like walking around all day with a sign on your back that says, "Kick me." You must discover it for yourself. That penguin's checking its back. It's also highly unlikely that one day you'll suddenly be bathed in bright light and your life's purpose will be laid out in a divine vision. And it's guaranteed that you won't find it on television. Yes, it's remotely possible that one day the blood will rush to your brain and enable you to work it all without too much bother. But the best way is to spend some quality time alone, asking yourself the tough questions. This exercise is not that hard. It's all about being honest. It's as easy as raise your hand if you feel like you could get more out of life. It's also about getting to the essence of what really matters. Never mind who moved your cheese. Ask yourself, why were you looking for cheese in the first place? For some people, this will simply be a case of seeking out the moments in their life that are beautiful and true, and then building a plan around them. For others, it may feel as if they are staring into the abyss. In extreme cases, intense introspection may cause the brain to swell to dangerous dimensions. Trust me, it's worth the risk. If you ask the big questions and listen carefully to your heart, you'll eventually hear destiny call you. A little voice, call it your conscience, your inner self, or your internal mother-in-law, will always tell you the truth if you're prepared to hear it. At first, you may only become aware of how your life has been stuck in a rut. Hey, join the club. But then you may realize what you really want, but you just can't quite make it happen. Pretty soon, though, it will hit you right between the eyes, just like when you're halfway to the beach and suddenly remember that you left the iron on at home. And when you know, or even suspect you know, what you will be doing with your life, then do it. Take a wild leap into the dark if you have to. And then hit the ground running because you don't have a second to lose. In spite of our feelings of invincibility and immortality, our existence is far more tenuous than we might think. Place your hand over your heart, over your chest, and feel your heartbeat. This is actually your life clock ticking, counting down the moments you have left. One day it will stop. That is 100% guaranteed. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So you can't afford to throw away a single precious second. Go after your dreams with energy and passion, or you may as well stand back and watch them wash down the drain. If you're going to waste your time sitting on the fence, you'll end up going nowhere in the brief time you have left. And then, of course, there's a dangerous risk of splinters in delicate regions. As they say, you can't cross a chasm in 2 small leaps. It takes courage and commitment to live your life dreams. Of course, one needs to remember where courage ends and stupidity begins. The truth is, we're all born with potential greatness and blessed with numerous opportunities to soar to dizzying new heights. But sadly, many of us are too lazy, too concerned about what others might think, or too afraid to change to ever stretch our wings and realize our tremendous talents. It's so important that you just do your own thing, whatever makes you truly happy, and do it the best you can. It doesn't matter whether your thing is making snowballs. Holding your breath underwater, hog calling, or wielding a hairdryer with dramatic effect. The only thing that matters is that you feel great about what you're doing. Keep in mind that whatever you do, mistakes are part of life. So don't waste time kicking yourself for the past. Don't stall or stress over whether you're doing the right thing. You'll always know the answer in your heart. Rather than be discouraged, always remember that rejection and resistance are almost guaranteed when you're doing something very important and very special. When you set out to live your dreams, lots of people, including those who love you the most, will try to hold you back. In this world, there are many miserable pessimists who have given up on their dreams and will tell you, you're wasting your time, you'll never make it. You may be surrounded by people who secretly want you to achieve less or even fail completely just so they don't look bad. They'll say, forget about it, it's not worth it, and it's not right for you anyway. Although that kitten looks pretty happy. So it's important to understand that following your own path is incredibly rewarding, and it's definitely not easy. Like everything else, or everyone else, you'll have some days that are better than others. Occasionally, everything may seem like a total disaster area, kind of like a bull in a china shop. People will look at you strangely when you tell them what you are trying to achieve. You'll start to listen to your detractors and doubt yourself. Why, oh why didn't I keep my job selling hot dogs? But whatever happens, just hang on. Remember that everybody struggles at times. It's incredibly draining to live through life doing something that you really don't enjoy or even care about. But if you follow your dreams, at least you will exhaust yourself doing what you love most. Now, you may not think that this will measure up too much in the global scheme of things, but believe me, it does. When you get the most out of your life, savoring every last drop, it will transform everything about you from ordinary to extraordinary. When you do what you love, you can pull back the bed sheets every morning feeling excited about beginning another day. And you'll be filled with heartfelt joy that is highly contagious. Just like when you start laughing out loud and make someone else start laughing, and then someone else, until you're all laughing so hard that your eyes water, you get terrible stomach cramps, it's hard to breathe, and you can't even stand up. Best of all, by doing the things that make your whiskers curl up with delight, assuming, of course, that you actually have whiskers, you will inspire someone else to go after their dreams. And that, my friend, is how you change the world. You know what? Even if you make big mistakes, if you're wrong about almost everything, you'll still enjoy an amazing, fun-filled life adventure. You will go to sleep at night knowing that you gave your all and made a difference. And wake up each morning looking forward to a future that is as beautiful and as exciting as you can imagine. You know something else? If you just listen to your heart and use your head, you'll never be wrong. And that, my friends, is the meaning of life.